As people cross the age of 50 and especially after 60, one of the most serious but often overlooked health challenges is the gradual decline in cellular energy production and nutrient absorption, which directly impacts circulation, muscle strength, brain clarity, and overall vitality. This silent process can make everyday activities, walking, climbing stairs, or even remembering simple things, feel increasingly difficult. The most concerning part is that many seniors assume this is normal aging, when in reality it is often driven by nutritional deficiencies, chronic inflammation, and reduced mitochondrial function that can be slowed and, in some cases, partially improved with the right dietary approach. In this video, we will explore how specific superfoods can support healthy aging, improve circulation, and help maintain independence and mobility after 60, without relying on extreme diets or complicated routines. I am Dr. Walker Official, and for over 25 years, I've focused on helping adults over 60 manage common aging-related health challenges, from circulation and joint issues to muscle loss and memory concerns. In this video, I'll show you what's really happening with age-related decline and the simple, practical steps that can truly make a difference. Here is what makes this topic urgent. According to large-scale geriatric health studies, nearly 1 in 3 adults over 65 experience reduced muscle mass severe enough to affect mobility, and cardiovascular efficiency can decline by up to 30% with age if lifestyle factors are not addressed. Even more concerning, research shows that poor dietary patterns are linked to faster cognitive and physical decline, increasing the risk of losing independence earlier than expected. What most people do not realize is that this process does not just affect strength, it affects confidence, balance, and the ability to live independently. Many seniors begin to avoid physical activity simply because their body feels weaker, which accelerates the problem even further. Today, I will also reveal a ranked list of 10 powerful superfoods that support healthy aging, and more importantly, I will expose one common mistake that most seniors unknowingly make every single day, something that silently speeds up this decline without them realizing it. And before we move forward, the most important question is, can these changes actually be slowed or improved naturally with nutrition alone? As the body ages past 50, and especially beyond 60, the underlying science of decline is strongly connected to 3 major biological changes: reduced mitochondrial efficiency, chronic low-grade inflammation, and decreased nutrient absorption in the digestive system. These processes do not happen suddenly, they gradually build over decades, but their effects become much more visible in later life when the body's natural repair systems slow down. Mitochondria, often called the energy factories of our cells, are responsible for producing the fuel that powers muscles, brain function, and organ activity. Research published in geriatric physiology studies shows that mitochondrial efficiency can decline by nearly 30–40% by the age of 70 compared to younger adulthood. This means the body is literally producing less energy at a cellular level, even if calorie intake remains the same. At the same time, chronic inflammation becomes more common. Clinical studies on aging populations show that markers of inflammation, such as C-reactive protein, tend to increase steadily after 60. This low-level inflammation is not always noticeable, but it silently damages blood vessels, joints, and even brain tissue over time. Researchers often refer to this process as inflammaging, a term used to describe how aging and inflammation reinforce each other. Another critical factor is reduced nutrient absorption. As we age, stomach acid production and enzyme activity decrease, which makes it harder to absorb key nutrients like vitamin B12, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids. Studies in nutritional science suggest that up to 20–30% of adults over 60 may have suboptimal absorption of essential vitamins even if their diet appears balanced. Geriatric specialists also point out that standard dietary advice, such as simply eating healthy or reducing fat, often fails because it does not address these deeper biological changes. For example, a diet low in healthy fats may actually worsen brain and hormone function in older adults, while insufficient protein intake can accelerate muscle loss. What makes this process more complex is that it often continues silently. Many seniors still feel okay until one day they notice reduced stamina, slower walking speed, or memory lapses. By that point, the underlying cellular decline has already been progressing for years. Understanding this science is important because it shifts the focus from blaming age itself to recognizing that the body is responding to specific, modifiable biological changes. And this is exactly where nutrition and targeted superfoods can begin to make a meaningful difference. A major reason many adults over 60 continue to experience gradual decline, even when they believe they are eating healthy or following general advice, is because several common habits unintentionally worsen the underlying biology we just discussed. These mistakes do not cause immediate harm, but over time they quietly accelerate inflammation, nutrient loss, and energy decline. One of the most common misconceptions is relying too heavily on low-fat or highly restricted diets. While this approach was widely promoted for decades, research now shows that cutting healthy fats too aggressively can negatively affect brain function, hormone balance, and cellular repair. In older adults, this can lead to increased fatigue, poorer memory performance, and reduced absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. The body begins to run on low fuel, which worsens the feeling of weakness and mental fog. Another widespread mistake is overdependence on processed, senior-friendly, or convenience foods. These foods are often marketed as easy and balanced, but clinical nutrition studies show they tend to be low in fiber, antioxidants, and essential minerals while being high in sodium and refined carbohydrates. This combination can worsen blood pressure, reduce circulation efficiency, and increase inflammation inside blood vessels, directly affecting heart and brain health. A third issue is ignoring muscle maintenance. Many seniors reduce protein intake due to digestion concerns or outdated beliefs about kidney strain. However, geriatric muscle studies consistently show that insufficient protein accelerates sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass. This leads to reduced mobility, higher fall risk, and slower recovery from illness or injury. The key problem with these habits is that they focus on symptoms or surface-level health goals, rather than addressing the root biological decline happening at the cellular level. Lower cholesterol, fewer calories, or light foods do not necessarily mean better aging outcomes if the body is still lacking essential nutrients for repair and energy production. However, modern research in nutritional science suggests an important shift in understanding. This type of decline is not purely irreversible aging. Instead, much of it is driven by deficiencies and chronic stress on the body that can be improved through targeted nutrition and lifestyle adjustments. This means the goal is not to stop aging, but to restore biological support systems that slow it down significantly. Now we will move into the most practical part of this discussion, the ranked list of superfoods that support healthier aging, improved circulation, and better energy after 50. These are not miracle cures, but they are evidence-supported foods that influence inflammation, blood flow, and cellular energy in measurable ways when used consistently. Starting at number 10, we have green tea. Green tea contains catechins, especially EGCG, which support antioxidant activity and may help reduce oxidative stress in cells. Clinical nutrition studies suggest regular intake may improve metabolic efficiency by around 5 to 10% over time. However, its effect is mild and requires consistent daily use, and it may not be suitable for those sensitive to caffeine. Still, it is a gentle, supportive habit for overall aging health. At number 9, we have oats. Oats are rich in soluble fiber, particularly beta-glucan, which helps support heart health by lowering LDL cholesterol by about 5 to 8% in many studies. The limitation is that oats alone do not provide enough protein or micronutrients for full aging support, but they are valuable for digestion and vascular health. Number 8 is turmeric. Curcumin, its active compound, has strong anti-inflammatory properties. Research in clinical studies shows it may reduce inflammatory markers by 10 to 15%, when combined with black pepper for absorption. The downside is poor natural absorption, meaning it must be consumed correctly to be effective. At number 7, we have blueberries. These are rich in anthocyanins, which support brain health and may improve memory function by up to 10% in older adults in controlled studies. However, they must be eaten regularly in sufficient quantity, and their effects build slowly over time. Number 6 is salmon or fatty fish. Rich in omega-3 fatty acids, it supports brain function, reduces inflammation, and improves heart rhythm stability. Studies suggest a 15 to 20% reduction in cardiovascular risk markers with regular intake. The limitation is accessibility and preference, as not everyone consumes fish regularly. At number 5, we have olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil supports vascular health and reduces oxidative stress. Research in Mediterranean diet studies shows up to 25% improvement in cardiovascular outcomes when used as a primary fat source. However, it must replace unhealthy oils, not simply be added on top of an already high-calorie diet. Number 4 is leafy greens like spinach and kale. These are high in magnesium, vitamin K, and nitrates that support blood flow. Studies show improved vascular flexibility by around 10–15%. The limitation is that benefits depend on consistent long-term intake. At number 3, we have nuts, especially walnuts and almonds. They support brain function, healthy fats, and satiety. Research suggests a 15% improvement in cognitive health markers with regular intake. However, portion control is important due to high calorie density. Number 2 is garlic. Garlic supports circulation and may help reduce blood pressure by 5–10% in hypertensive individuals according to clinical trials. Its limitation is odor and digestive sensitivity in some people. And finally, number 1 is fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, or sauerkraut. These support gut microbiome balance, which emerging research strongly links to immunity, inflammation control, and even brain health. Studies show improvements in digestive efficiency and inflammatory markers by up to 20%. The key limitation is that benefits vary depending on strain diversity and consistency of intake. Now let's focus on the most powerful part of this entire system, the top 3 superfoods that have the strongest combined impact on circulation, energy production, and healthy aging after 60. These are not random choices. They are supported by consistent findings in nutritional and geriatric research, especially in how they affect inflammation, vascular function, and cellular repair. At number 3, we have walnuts. Walnuts are unique because they contain a rare combination of omega-3 fatty acids, polyphenols, and antioxidants that directly support brain and heart health at the same time. Studies in aging populations show that regular walnut intake can improve cognitive performance markers by around 10–15% and support healthier blood lipid profiles. They help maintain flexibility in blood vessels, which becomes increasingly important after 60 when circulation naturally slows down. The limitation is that walnuts are calorie-dense, so portion control is important. Typically, a small handful per day is sufficient. At number 2, we have extra virgin olive oil. This is one of the most researched foods in longevity science, especially in Mediterranean dietary studies. Olive oil contains monounsaturated fats and polyphenols that reduce oxidative stress and support endothelial function, the lining of blood vessels. Clinical findings suggest regular use may reduce cardiovascular risk factors by up to 25% when it replaces processed fats. The main caution is that it must be used as a replacement, not an addition, otherwise excess calorie intake can become an issue. Now, at number 1, the most powerful daily support food for healthy aging is fermented foods, especially natural yogurt or kefir with live active cultures. The reason this ranks highest is because it does not just affect one system, it influences the gut microbiome, which research increasingly shows is connected to immunity, inflammation levels, nutrient absorption, and even brain function. Clinical studies on older adults show that improving gut bacteria balance can reduce inflammatory markers by up to 20%, improve digestion efficiency, and enhance absorption of critical nutrients like B vitamins and magnesium. This is especially important after 60, when digestive efficiency naturally declines. Exact action plan. A practical daily routine would be one small bowl of plain yogurt or kefir in the morning or evening, ideally without added sugar. It can be combined with a few walnuts and a small drizzle of olive oil in meals throughout the day to create a strong synergy of healthy fats and gut support. This combination helps support circulation, brain function, and energy stability over time. A harmless side effect some people may experience when increasing fermented foods is mild bloating during the first few days as the gut microbiome adjusts. A realistic caution is that individuals with lactose sensitivity should choose lactose-free or alternative fermented options. If used consistently, these top 3 foods work not by fixing aging, but by strengthening the body's weakened biological systems so they function more efficiently and steadily. As we bring everything together, it becomes clear that healthy aging after 50 is less about restriction and more about avoiding silent biological damage while consistently supporting the body's repair systems. There are a few critical mistakes that should be avoided at all costs. The first is ignoring daily protein and healthy fat intake, which slowly accelerates muscle loss and reduces brain efficiency. The second is relying too heavily on processed or low-fat packaged foods, which often increase inflammation instead of reducing it. The third is becoming physically inactive for long periods, which quickly reduces circulation and weakens balance and mobility. And the fourth is assuming that fatigue, memory decline, or joint stiffness are simply unavoidable parts of aging, rather than signals of nutritional and metabolic imbalance. The important reframe is this: most age-related decline is not sudden deterioration. It is the gradual result of reduced cellular energy, nutrient deficiency, and chronic inflammation building up over time. This means aging is not only about years past, but also about how well the body is supported on a daily level. When the body is given the right nutritional support, especially through targeted foods that improve gut health, circulation, and cellular energy, many of these processes can slow down significantly. The goal is not to reverse age, but to restore function, stability, and independence. For the next 30 days, the focus is simple and realistic. Consistently include key superfoods like fermented foods, olive oil, walnuts, and antioxidant-rich plant foods in daily meals, while avoiding processed foods that increase inflammation. At the same time, maintain gentle daily movements such as walking to support circulation and joint function.